Hello everyone. In today's video, I will discuss about Goffman's idea of the asylum and total institution. As you know, Goffman is very popular for his works like presentation of self in everyday life, asylum, stigma, gender in presentation, and many more. But we will only focus on asylum and total institution in this video. Goffman's book Asylum is popular not only in sociology, also in psychology and criminology, because leveling theory uses this concept for understanding the deviance. But Goffman was not happy using the term deviance for the inmates of mental patient or mental hospital, because his book focused on the mental hospital, that is St. Elizabeth Hospital in the Washington DC. He conducted a field study there, an ethnographic study, and that was a 12-month ethnographic study. And this 12-month ethnographic study produced a very popular book, Asylum. And in the book Asylum, he tried to understand the impact of the hospital system, impact of the mental hospital system, particularly on the inmates, and how it develops a total institution, how this mental hospital develops a total institution. So this total institution concept he elaborated in his book. So Goffman basically here used the interactionist approach for understanding the situation of inmates of the mental hospital and the environment around them, and the institution, that is total institution, that means the mental hospital as a whole. Though he conducted an ethnographic field study, but his ethnography was not a typical sociological or anthropological case study and case notes and others. It was mainly understanding the interactions, mainly understanding the situations, their self, the self of the inmates, the environment of the mental hospital, and how it re-socializes them, and how this mental hospital becomes a total institution for them. So let's begin. That's what total institution mean according to Goffman. So first thing you shall keep in your mind that Asylum is a book, and Asylum is a book named after the mental hospital. That is, it's a system of mental hospital. And in this book, he tried to describe how asylum uh, influences the inmates, how asylum develops a kind of self within the inmates, how asylum develops a total institution within it. Now, what is this total institution? So, to understand the total institution, Goffman first observed certain things in the modern society. Then only he defined what is total institution. Goffman observed that in modern society, everyday life of the people is divided into three important spheres or aspects: work, sleep, and play. And these three aspects have different time and places. There is boundary in time and places for these three aspects: work, sleep, and play. But in the mental hospital, that is in the asylum, there is no boundary. There is no boundary for these spheres of in everyday life, these aspects of everyday life. The total institution here means the breaking of this boundary in the asylum, in the mental hospital. Now, the work sleep, and play. These three important aspects. In the everyday life, people do work, but it has a separate time and place. They sleep in a separate place and time. They play in a separate place and time. But what happens in the mental hospitals? The inmates, basically, the inmates are doing their work within the same boundary, within the same environment, and in a specified time. Again, they are sleeping within the same place, there is same environment, same boundary, and they are playing also within the same boundary and within the same environment. So there is no other extra places and time for them to live their life. And because of that, this mental hospital can be considered as a total institution. And this total institution has certain characteristics. Goffman has found certain characteristics of the total institution. Number one, the total institution has certain rules and regulations. That is, mental hospital or asylum has certain rules and regulations, and it has an authority. So inmates who basically lives their everyday life under these rules, regulations, and under a particular authority. Inmates cannot do anything against the authority and against the rules, regulations. That is their work, their the food, their dining, their sleeping, their playing, their other physical activities, all have to be there within the rules, regulations, and under a particular authority. This is the most important characteristic of the asylum or mental hospital, or in Goffman's term, total institution. The second characteristic of this total institution is that all the inmates are basically shared similar kind of situation. That is, all are like situational. They have similar kind of situation. That is, their situation is similar. They are all mentally ill or maybe mentally not normal according to the society, and they may be patient considered in this hospital. So they have the similar situation, and in these similar situations they are facing similar kind of rules, regulations, and similar kind of authority, and they are doing the similar kind of things, similar activities. They cannot do anything of their own wish. They have to they have to submit themselves under a particular rules, regulations, under the particular authority. Third feature of this total institution is the uh, strict timetable for everyday activities. Everyday activities in the total institution are completely scheduled. Everything in this total institution is based on the timetable, based on the schedule, which is already prepared by the authority. And there are officials who looks after the execution of these rules and regulations, who looks after the adherence of these rules regulation by the inmates. So if anyone who is failing to adhere these rules and regulations, he may be punished. The inmate may be punished. So inmates here basically follows a scheduled, a timetabled the everyday life. Everything is in schedule. Whatever you want to do, it has to be there within a specified time in the schedule, and in this specified time only the inmate can do this thing. If inmate now wants to eat something, he cannot do, he cannot eat. if it is not a time for eating. So in this way, there is specified time, specified protocols which maintains their everyday life. Fourth characteristic of total institution is the specified goal. So what is the specified goal? The total institution, that is mental hospital or asylum, has a specified goal, and they imposes the rules, regulations and various protocols over the inmates to achieve a particular goal. The inmates their have to do their activities or have to live their everyday life according to the rules, regulation and authority of the total institution to achieve a particular goal. So the mental hospital or asylum mainly sets the goal, and once the inmate achieves the goal, he may be freed from this hospital, and he may be considered as healthy, and he may be allowed to go outside this hospital. So all these characteristics makes the mental hospital or asylum a total institution according to government. So that means here inmates, what government considered as a new self, that inmates are new self within this mental hospital, within this asylum. They develops a new self, they re-socializes them, they reorganizes their life according to the rules, regulation and authority of the hospital, authority of the asylum. But again, government also argued that this hospital system or the system of mental hospital suppresses the inmates. It is a suppressive system for the inmates because it controls the inmates. So according to government, this mental hospital or asylum is a total institution, and this total institution is a system of oppression, a system of suppressing the inmates. The inmates are suppressed, controlled by this system, and a new self develops. A new self is imposed upon them through all these regulated everyday activities. So this is what is total institution concept. Total institution, it is means that this institution is different from the larger society or outside society or the society outside of the asylum and mental hospital. This total institution is basically a system that exists in the mental hospital and asylum, and the patients or mental patients are the inmates. A total institution can also include other such systems like jails, but here government also considered this mental hospital as total institution because these mental hospitals are no less than jail, where patients are treated with the specified rules, regulations, with specified the protocol, and they cannot do according to their own wish, and they cannot express their own self. They have to accept a particular kind of system, rules, regulations, and a different kind of self they have to develop within them through re-socialization. So this is how this total institution exists, or total institution is defined by Goffman in his analysis of the mental hospital. So this much is the present discussion, and I will continue this discussion in the next video.